Hey folks, today I'm going to talk about a little Ruger LCP, the original version, and just so you know the couple differences in this one and the new LCP2. The original does not hold the slide back on the last shot, alright, so the magazine's a little bit different. So with this one, even with the magazine in it, you can check here, we are empty, alright, nothing in the magazine, nothing in the chamber. But if we pull the slide back and let it go to chamber around with the magazine in it, the slide still will not stay open on the last shot. So be aware of that. That's one of the features that has really been a big improvement with the LCP2 version. So anyway, I'm going to do a little demo on how to take this thing apart and clean it real quick. It's no big deal. First thing we're going to do, go ahead and take the magazine out of it. All right. And I prefer to use my little small bladed screwdriver. And we're going to take and look at the back edge of your takedown pin right here. I'm going to catch the back of it with the blade and pop the takedown pin out. But in order to do that, I prefer to put, let's grab a little piece of cloth here, put something on the back of the screwdriver so that we don't scratch the slide. All right, I'm going to pry against the slide just a little bit. But I like to do it this way so I can catch the edge of that pin. A little snap right there. It's got a spring tension inside that snaps on it. Pull that pin out, and you can look real close right here. If we can see that, you can see the detent that's cut out around the pin. That's where the spring catches and holds it in. All right. So now, with that pin out, by golly, it just slides right off. Ain't that easy enough? But keep in mind, when you take the barrel and the recoil spring off this is not a captured recoil spring, so it can get away from you. So what I typically do is lay it on my hand with my thumb pressure pushing forward on the back of the recoil spring. All right, I'm going to push it forward enough to get tension off of it. And make sure you catch it or got pressure on it, because it will come apart and get away from you if you're not careful. This is a 2-spring system, so we got an inner and outer spring with our guide rod there. We take that out, push our barrel up easy enough, pull the barrel out towards the back, and that's all there is to field stripping one of these. Nothing to it. And what I typically would do is we're going to go in here with a little solvent. Now this one, we've just cleaned this one, honestly. It's not to be cleaned right now, but we have just gone through it for a customer. And I was asked to do a video about how to do that, because there are some folks that have never done this before, so we'll help you with that a little bit. But these are one of the easiest things to do as far as taking one down apart and cleaning it anyway. With this, that's about as far as you're going to go typically with a field stripping kit, or cleaning it rather. What I normally would do is clean all of the dirt, carbon, crud along your typical surfaces, or the slides, the face of the bolt here. And on this one, I'll be careful about getting the dirt out from inside this cavity where your hammer swings forward and hits the striker, or your firing pin in this case. This is a hammer-fired semi-automatic. And that being the case, your hammer, every time you pull the trigger and release it, we're going to release our hammer. Hammer goes forward and hits the back of the firing pin, is what makes the gun go bang. Okay, so with that being said, it's a very long trigger pull every time, and we'll demonstrate that here in just a minute too. But anyway, we're going to clean that up a little bit, put a couple drops of oil on it, and clean our barrel the same way with our typical solvent to get the carbon and lead copper built up out of the barrel. And I'll swab that out, go back with a little bit of oil on it, and we're ready to put it back together. And to do so, all right, we're just going to lay the barrel in the top of or the bottom, I guess it is, into the slide. How about that? And with our recoil spring, again, we're going to have the capped end of the recoil spring, the large end, the flat end here, will go toward the barrel recoil lug. All right, we're going to put our spring into the pocket, we'll push forward, and it can be a little bit testy, I guess, getting the springs back in alignment, but keep it in line with the spring there, and you'll be good to go. And you see the base of the recoil guide rod just sits right here in a little notch on the bottom of the lug. Okay, nothing to it. All right. And honestly, you cannot put this in wrong. It's only going to work one way to start with. Okay. Now, and also with our frame now, do a typical cleaning with the frame rails, any kind of crud and debris, dirt built up on that. Pay attention to the pocket down inside here where the trigger manipulates. You got almost looks like a ball joint inside the frame where the trigger moves back and forth. There's a little hinge pin on the trigger, so make sure that gets cleaned out good. A little bit of solvent, some air, blow the air out of it to get the dirt out, and then come back with a drop of oil is all you need. And again, same thing with our surfaces for the hammer, for the sear, for the spring connection. Under the spring connects under the hammer. It's hard to see in this video, I know, but there's a long spring that goes from hooks the bottom of the hammer and goes down inside the frame. So be aware of the crud buildup in that, because that can get all the stuff's going to get some dirt in it anyways eventually. If you use the thing, even if you carry it in your pocket, you can still get a lot of debris, a lot of lint from your clothing, that type of thing will accumulate down in here. Because this is a neat little gun to carry. It's easy to conceal, but you know, it's not a long range target kind of gun for sure. All right. And to put the slide back on, we gotta make sure we pay attention again to the lube points. A couple of drops of oil beside the hammer where it rotates, so you're lubricating the hinge points. All right, now we'll go ahead and cock our hammer back to put it back together. We take our slide, engage the track, okay, pull it right back to where it's even with the back of the firearm, and in doing so, you're going to end up with the barrel lug. If you look at the bottom of the barrel right here, this opening, that is where your takedown pin is going to fit. So you have to be sure that when you pull the slide back, you go back far enough that this opening is lined up with the hole where your takedown pin goes. Okay. Once that happens, you can just slide the pin right back in. All right, you see you have and I mentioned earlier about the spring that holds the tension on the takedown pin. That is this spring right here. Let's make you see that. If you see this little wire spring right in that hole right there, inside the pocket where the takedown pin goes. So that spring keeps tension on your takedown pin so it don't get away from you while you're shooting the gun. All right. So we slide this back to where we can see now through our hole in the bottom of the barrel lug. I can take, with the pressure on the bottom edge of my pin, catch the edge of the pin with the spring first, push it down, and then in. You rotate it. Spring tension is going to be a little bit tight on it, but you catch it in, and once it gets started, it'll drop back in. That's all there is to it. And now, if we did everything right, the gun will function like it's supposed to. And we've pulled the slide back, it slides, it fires, and when you cycle the gun, it fires, it cycles itself. The cycling of the slide cocks the hammer again, and it's ready to fire again. So this is a, see you got action, slide works, cocks the hammer, and that is a single action only, semi-automatic, hammer fired, alrighty? So if it were a double action, for example, with the gun fired like this, and the slide did not move, we could still pull the trigger and it will cock itself, but it does not do that. The slide has to move to make the gun cock. So it is a single action only, hammer fired, semi-automatic. All right, cool. Anyway, oh, and also, I'll tell you something else I did with this one too, actually. We also did a cleaning on the magazine itself. So for the clean the magazine on this one, it's fairly easy to take apart too. We can use my little punch here. There's a recessed pin or post that sticks up to the bottom of the base plate on the magazine, and if I push that pin down, I can slide the base plate back a little bit. Make sure you keep your finger pressure on this, because you get the base plate off, the spring tension will be on it, but then that will come out. So you can take that off. You can remove the spring, remove your follower, clean out inside your magazine well, okay? And with that one also at the same time, clean out the dirt that may be accumulated inside the recess on your follower, and then to put it back together the same way. It only fits one way because the way the magazine is shaped, it can't go but one way. So we drop our follower back in, take our spring back in here, push it down. We're going to hold the base of the spring in place so we can engage the slots on the bottom of our base plate into the lip on the bottom of the magazine. Catch it just like that, and push it back, and it snaps right back in place. Now your detent is back in position. And with that, base plate stays on. Okay? So anyway, there you go. That's how to take apart your Ruger LCP original version. Do a field strip, do a cleaning, lube it, and put it back together. See? All there is to it. Now take it back. It's what I say. Most people can do this and not an issue. And what we do here, honestly, we go a little further than that. When I take the slide apart, we put this whole firearm into an ultrasonic bath and make sure that it gets cleaned inside where places you wouldn't normally get to with a cloth, for example. And it does a really good job of that. And we put it also into an oil bath and make sure that the moisture is dried off to start with. Then we put it in an oil bath and get it lubricated good and wipe her down. So anyway, but there you go. That's my 2 cents on it. Anyway, if I can help you out with something, gunsmith-wise, give us a call at Maverick Gun Works.